Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's exactly 2 o'clock, and time and tide waits for no man. We plan to start at 2, and we want to obey the times. I want to believe that everybody has had a good lunch. We have tried our best to make sure that we meet all the continental criteria. If we are not able to get it right, forgive us. If you got it right, let us know so that we can improve upon it the next time. This is an international symposium where we have a variety of issues. People have traveled far and wide, different countries, different cultures, different beliefs, and many more. Some people don't like their pictures to be taken, whilst others want pictures to be taken and also floated around the world. If for some reason you don't want your picture to be taken, or after it's taken and you don't want it to be shared, you can approach Emmanuel, that is the coordinator for KNUST Tomb Seed Center, or you can approach me myself for that, and we will manage it for you. I want us to observe some few organizational matters. We are the IDL Amoniniza Conference Center. The name Amoniniza is a past vice chancellor of this university, and this auditorium was named after him. Interestingly, I was part of the workings of this auditorium. It was designed by my mentor, one Professor Henry Ajiri Wellington. He was a German trained. We planned to have this whole area as international village. So we were to have a lot of conference facilities, auditoria, close to our Olympic swimming pool, which is under renovation, the one that has been hoarded here. This building was planted on a virgin land because we had to cut the trees. It is situated within a botanical garden of the university. And for the first time we entered here, it was this particular building that you are in. So we've tried to have all what nature certainly calls us when we come here. So if you want to attend to nature's call, you can go through the exit on my left or my right. And to the very back of it, we have for ladies and gents. We also have water dispensers positioned at vantage points of the conference area. And if you want water, yesterday when you arrived and this morning, I'm sure everybody has been given the water bottle. You can fetch your water from the water dispensers and make yourself comfortable with them. Having said this, I would like to go on as the scientific director of KNUST Tomb Seed Center welcome you. And it's interesting to note, and I'd like to read this email. On 17th of April 2019, at 12:32 p.m., according to the Google time, I received an email. Dear Professor Dr. Opong, the TUM International Office referred me to you. Against the background of the strategic partnership for innovation and sustainable development between KNUST and TUM, I would like to propose an interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research project to you and your colleagues. The research project is titled Energize Ghana, Sustainable Energy Systems and Entrepreneurship to Transform the Rural Areas of Ghana. The basic ideas are: 1, to plan and build sustainable, decentralized energy systems in 2 selected rural areas of Ghana. 2, investigate and enhance entrepreneurship there in close collaboration with KNUST. We would like to submit this research project to the current call for proposal by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research. The deadline was May 30th, 2019. Some links were given. Would you be interested in this research project proposal and collaborate with us? Please advise. Thank you. Sincerely, Frank Martin Belts. This is the beginning of why we are here. Immediately after that, I received a call from a very distinguished and respectable lady who I had met earlier on, who has surprised me, and she's also in our presence to grace this occasion. And that was also Professor Dr. Julian Nkrumah, the Senior Vice President of Technical University of Munich. And she said, Rexford, have you received that email? Please go ahead. You put things together, and after some time, we got others to come on board from other universities: Peru, Ethiopia, India, Kenya, Indonesia, and of course, KNUST, and having this project being led by TUM. We have come far from 2019 to 2003. I had the opportunity to meet many of us back in India. The first seed symposium, I had lost my mom and I could not be there. I sent my coordinators to be there. And the first time I had the opportunity to meet all of us in person was in India. And to our utmost amazement, it was announced that KNUST was to host the 2023 Seed Symposium. My friend, Professor James Katende, asked, why KNUST? And I said, I'm going to add K to your NUST. That is why you are coming to KNUST. So from here, they will go back and change their NUST, which is Namibia University of Science and Technology, to Kwame Nkrumah Namibia University of Science and Technology. On this note, we are here for a reason. We have come far, and we want to see how best we can improve upon this collaboration. We're going to discuss to find a way forward so that we can deepen the academic exchange that we have been engaging for the past 3-4 years. Again, We're going to draw benchmarks to improve the living labs that we've established to provide electrification for our rural communities. And I must say, in our midst, for us at KNUST KNUST Center, our people, those that we have through KNUST Center, we have provided this mini grid for, they are represented, and we have Nana Omane in our presence. Nana, you are welcome. We have the assemblyman also in our presence to really grace this occasion. So, Vice Chancellor Representative, Pro Vice Chancellor, Prof. Belt, the lead director, Professor Dr. Julian Welkerman, Senior Vice President, colleagues, scientific directors, coordinators, students, and several organizations present, the media. I want to welcome you and encourage you that KNUST has a salubrious environment. Whilst we go through this hectic 4-day, 5-day period, find space and enjoy the lush environment that we have on campus. On this note, I'd like to say, welcome, Akwaba, welcome, bienvenida, bienvenido. Thank you very much. Yes. I double as the moderator as well. And I have Lara and Iqbal and Iman supporting me on my left. They are the ones who will be keeping the time. And as I said, we want to really be strict with time because it's important to be. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome a person, as I said, I met many years ago, and again, got her to come to KNUST on 2 occasions, and in Rome. She has KNUST at heart in a special way. And I must say that she's the first person to put KNUST on the map of Technical University of Munich. I have all those documentary evidence where, if you look at the connecting universities around the world, KNUST stands tall. And this was done by this professor, Senior Vice President of Technical University of Munich. She's been in and out of this campus. And I'm sure if we are to do a guided tour, Julian will be able to take us around campus. She's responsible for the partnership, as I said, between KNUST and TUM. And within this partnership, for the first time, when I was the Dean of International Programs, we had many faculties connecting with TUM. As I was leaving the office as Dean in 2021, KNUST and TUM has over 21 different partnerships, all started by this august personality we have in our midst. I'll therefore ask her at this point to give us some welcome note. Thank you very much, Julian.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind words. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliane Winkelmann. I'm the Senior Vice President for International Alliances and Alumni at the Technical University of Munich. And it's my great pleasure to officially welcome you here also on the TUM Board of Management, to the TUM Seed Center's annual symposium at our strategic And I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity also, and I'm very delighted that we meet today. Thank you for being here, and I also would like to take the opportunity to congratulate you and the KNUST for having been ranked first in the world for the promotion of quality education in the UN Sustainable Development Goal 4 in 2023. This is a great success. Congratulations. I would like to also especially thanks our host and the scientific director of the KNUST Seed Center, Professor Oppong, for the warm welcome. Thank you very much. Also thank you for your continuous support and the great commitment to fruitful and to fill and really to develop our partnership, the partnership between KNUST and TUM. Thank you so much. Of course, I would also like to mention, and thanks a lot, Professor Belz. Professor Belz is the director of the TUM Seed Center, for the invitation, and I really would like to mention and thank you for your passion in making this a reality, for your engagement, and also your entire team. It just has been wonderful, and we're very impressed. And I would like to mention that the Seed Center and the success of the Seed Center is really a flagship story, a flagship project in the Global South of our university. So thank you very much. Also very important, a welcome to Mr. Sherif Azab Ais. He's the Senior Desk Officer of the German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD. And also a welcome to Dr. Roxana Kudita from Audi. So thank you very much also for being here. But then, of course, very important, all the partner universities. Our host, KNUST in Ghana, of course, and then the Bahir Dar University from Ethiopia is here, the director, and all the colleagues. A warm welcome. The Indian Institute of Technology of Bombay, warm welcome. And the Bandung Institute of Technology from Indonesia. The Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology from Kenya. We have met already, wonderful. And the Makerere University from Uganda. Will still arrive, maybe, or still on the trip. Namibia University of Science and Technology. Wonderful, warm welcome. And the Pontificia University Católica del Peru. And finally, last but not least, a thanks to all the esteemed colleagues and students from TUM. Thank you for being here. So, dear honorable guests, dear colleagues, dear students, dear participants of the TUM Seed Center Annual Symposium here at KNUST. Our university places a strong emphasis on excellence in both research and teaching. And as an entrepreneurial university, we are dedicated to fostering entrepreneurship and innovation, and we are striving for sustainable development. So recently, TUM has launched the TUM Sustainable Future Strategy 2030, and with which we aim to contribute solving some of the greatest challenges of our time. And we are pooling our valuable resources together to making sustainability really an integral part and an integral guiding principle of our agenda. And it's really integrated in all core areas in research, education, entrepreneurship, to lifelong learning, to our entire community. Everybody should be involved. And in this respect, I would really like to highlight the significance of the TUM Seed Center to work in the field of higher education, and especially in the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. And here I think all seed partners together, you can really make a joint global impact. Together, we have recognized that innovation and sustainability are crucial pillars that drive positive change in society worldwide. And for this reason, and the TUM Center here plays an essential part, the TUM Board of Management aims to substantially strengthen and expands our relations to partners in the global regions. And in this respect, and I cannot really stress this enough, the TUM Seed Center's annual symposium provides a wonderful platform for all of us, for sharing knowledge, for sharing best practices, fostering collaboration, and networking among all researchers, entrepreneurs, and all the enthusiastic students and valuable stakeholders. At this point, I would also like to express TUM's gratitude for the support received from the DAAD Exceed program and from the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. So this is really a strong cooperation which is supported, and this allowed us to achieve the Seed Center's missions and the significant milestones. And we at the university, at TUM, we are very eager and very enthusiastic, and I really can say this for the entire TUM Board of Management and our president. We are really enthusiastic to exceed the cooperation with the German Academic Exchange Service and the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development beyond the current phase. And we really want to keep on working with all of these wonderful partners on this extremely promising project and journey. Research strives on the inclusion of diverse perspectives and knowledge, and this holds true in the global north and in the global south, everywhere in the world. So we understand that we can and we must learn a lot from colleagues and communities in the global south. We want to learn sociocultural and economic conditions. We want to learn and study complex topics, and complex topics can only be researched, and complex challenges can only be solved together. And I think each side, everybody of us, has a lot to contribute to all these solutions. And for this reason, I'm very delighted that we are able to expand the mobility options for our students within the TUM Seed Center, for all the partners, in order to really jointly train, jointly educate the next generation of talents. That's really most important. And to give them the opportunity to exchange exactly and these diverse perspectives and ideas with their peers at home and abroad. So once again, a big thanks to the KNUST having us here, and a big thanks to everyone who was involved in making this event happen. I just can say I'm already very impressed when I arrived here what have you arranged, and I wish you all a lot of exchange and a successful symposium and wonderful days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Julian Winkelmann, Senior Vice President of Technical University of Munich, for the incisive speech. Thank you very much. Today, I'll worry you a lot, so I'll call you back in a few minutes, so get prepared for me. But before then, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, that is the regional TV station representing the national television and broadcasting issues are here with us. We also have the Tech TV. The university has its own TV. They are also here with us. I think OTEC is here and other media groups. So I'm sure very soon, that's why I said that if you don't want your pictures to be out there, let me know quickly. Because when they spark, nobody can stop them. At this point, I would like to invite the owner, so to speak, of this university, who is being represented by the able Provost Chancellor of the university. He's a friend, he's a brother, and a colleague as well. Professor Ellis Owusu-Dabo is a full professor in epidemiology. It's quite a long word, isn't it? Those of us in Ghana, when the COVID struck, he was all over trying to explain to us the effects of it. And I quite remember I found myself in a committee, and the chairman of that committee came back to me and said that, Rexford, I've seen this man on TV talking about the effect of some of the things that we do as human beings. It's good COVID came so that such a man could be on television to educate us about certain things. Not too long after that, he became the Dean of Public Health, and because of his nature, and when he comes here and he starts speaking, perhaps you understand what I'm talking about. The Provost Chancellorship position became vacant, and he was among the 3 that were nominated. That is our style. And he won the first time. Again, when he finished his first term as a Provost Chancellor, that's a first term of 2 years, he was renominated among 2 others, and again, he won hands down. At this point in time, we have Professor Ellis Owusu-Dabo representing the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Akosua Dixon. And Prof, please come and have the podium. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you so very much for those kind words, the Scientific Director of the Tomb Seed Center here in KNUST. Let me recognize once again the Senior Vice President from the Technical University of Munich, whom I've just met, Professor Julian Winkler. Let me also recognize the Scientific Director from the Technical University of Munich. And again, Mr. Sharif, Azabels, who is at the desk. He's a senior desk officer at the German Academic Exchange Service. Esteemed scientists herein gathered, fellow academics, Nananum civil organizations, industrial partners, the university community, invited guests, our friends from the media, they're always around. For those of you who do not know, in front of one of our university halls, it's called the Unity Hall. It's a place we refer to as always around. The media team are always around. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of us. Good afternoon. We are addressing a very important subject of sustainability. And in the case of the Sustainable Energies and Entrepreneurship Development Symposium, my understanding is that we have gathered all these esteemed scientists to address a very important subject that does not only look at one sustainable development goal, but it also looks at the ripples of at least 3 of them. And I can look at least SDG 1, SDG 2, and certainly SDG 7 and SDG 13. It is a great honor to welcome all of you to the TUM Seed Symposium 2023. We were very excited when Professor Rexford, associé upon my good friend, who is also the Center Director for the KNUST Seed, shared the good news with us, and I'm referring to management, that the KNUST Seed Center has won the bid to host this year's symposium. I must say that it was a great delight to have 9 countries being represented here today, namely those of you from Germany, Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, Indonesia, Peru, Namibia, whom I've just heard that you want to change your name to our university. Add the UST to it, and then you'll be fine. And of course, India, not forgetting our own homeland, Ghana. I feel honestly and sincerely privileged to address a gathering of world-class scientists, academics, and students, of course, civil society and organizations that are gathered here, as well as industrial partners who have been working tirelessly since 2020 to make the world a better place through sustainable partnerships, led by the Technical University of Munich. And this is through this simple step of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship development. This partnership with SEED is indeed a project better positioned to transform lives and livelihoods, not least those from our rural economies to those in urban ones. Participate or partake in academic exchanges, encourage socioeconomic development through rural electrification and entrepreneurial activities, as well as the provision of clean energy to help the climate change agenda. Like the master seed, the TUM seed is growing from tiny beginnings and adding oil to the lives and livelihoods of people in rural communities. The KNUST TUM Seed Center is playing her role, and it is indeed a critical and crucial role in providing energy to Yebuakrom, a farming community in the Dwabing municipality of the Ashanti region of Ghana, through the provision of solar PV grid electricity as a catalyst for socio-economic development. The project's goals aligns with those of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in our mission and our quest to creating an environment for undertaking relevant research, entrepreneurship training, and community engagement to improve the quality of lives and the livelihoods of our people, noting that KNUST Tomb Seed is contributing immensely to Ghana's aim of achieving a 10% renewable energy target in energy mix by the year 2030. Today will go down in the annals of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology as the day that the KNUST Seed Center hosted the 2023 annual symposium in Kumasi, the cultural city of Ghana, and we are truly, greatly honored. The Tomb Seed partner universities participating in the symposium today will make presentations on current research in their living labs to demonstrate increasing entrepreneurial activities in the areas of renewable energy systems, rural electrification, community engagement, agricultural practices, mobility, and global engagement between Technical University of Munich and the Tomb Seed partner universities. And I hope that in the next 4 or 5 days ahead of you, you will truly share some of the findings and hold press releases for the benefit of improving our communities. As you go through the program of activities, do please take some time and enjoy the serenity of our environment. This is deliberate. We've created a learning environment for you to be able to enjoy, and it's no surprise and it's no wonder that we have been adjudged by the Times Higher Education 2023 Impact Rankings as the #1 destination for quality education. I hope that you will look back fondly on your days here at KNUST campus in Ghana as you continue to dedicate yourselves to achieving the sustainable development goals. On that note, I'd like to wish all of you a hearty welcome. Enjoy your stay with us. Do have a successful and a memorable program ahead of you, and I wish you well. I say Akwaba, and thank you for your kind attention. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Can we give it to him once again? Before I go on, to the scientific directors, I have a surprise for you. Where you sit, where you have your name, either a partner university or your real name, and our invited dignitaries, Harold and Co. Just open it and you find something in there which looks like this, and put it around your neck. Thank you. Good. Yes. The coordinators, you also have yours already. Put it around your neck. Yes. Thank you so much. Good. The next item on the agenda is to symbolically showcase Tomb Seed Center and the partner universities, the legal instrument backing whatever we have been doing over the years. It is not a joke. When we started, we had to enter into agreement. I think we've mentioned DAD, the German exchange, academic development. They are all partners. And it's about money. In fact, coming from architectural background, I'm an architect by profession, but I'm a businessman as well, an academic, and a Christian by vocation. So I believe in incorruptibility. And when you are managing funds, it's extremely important to make sure that you are incorrigibly incorruptible. As a result of that, we had to sign agreement. It is important to mention that currently KNUST, ITB Indonesia, and ITTB India is sealed. We have new one, PUCP of Peru, and also Jomo Kenyatta University in Kenya. We have some also in the process and close to the end. Ethiopia, Makerere, Uganda, and KNUST. But it's a done deal. I mean, where we've gotten to, 2024 being the end of the first phase, it's extremely important to now showcase whatever we have done to the world. So, and I invite Professor Dr. Julian Winkelmann to come back on stage and formally hand over the agreement that we have signed symbolically to Professor Belt. And I invite all the scientific directors on stage while this is also done, and the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Sharif Harold, you also join us on stage. Thank you very much. I saw the paparazzi doing their work, but please, let's come back and take a...
I'm sure. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, I think we've come far, and we need to do, once the scientific directors have taken a picture, we can't be that selfish. So all of us will now move out and take a group photo. Then after that, we come back to continue the program. Thank you very much.
Oder haben die einen Klicker? Das wäre natürlich noch...
Ich glaube, die haben einen Klicker. Zumindest haben
weil
sie
dann,
dieses
dann will ich Ihnen schicken, das PDF. Und ich kann den Klicker...
Good afternoon. My Pro-Vice Chancellor wanted to run away. I said no. We are now getting to the creme de la creme. And we've listened to very important personalities. It is time for us to listen to the email I read. And I'm sure that email was sent to all the partner universities at the time in 2019. Professor Dr. Frank Martin Belt is the director of Kumasi Center, Technical University of Munich. And when I met this man, I haven't seen a man who is so passionate about entrepreneurship. I'm sure she sleeps entrepreneurship. She eats entrepreneurship. She walks entrepreneurship. And he teaches entrepreneurship. His passion is about making sure that the next generation that we have can have something on their own sustainably. The passion that he has for the next generation has led him not only to have this seed center functioning, but introducing other things such as student initiative founders. And these student initiative founders is grooming the next generation of students who will take over from people like us. I keep telling people that if you look at me, in the next decade, you'll find me here, but you won't find me in this, so to speak, authoritative way of doing things because I'll be on retirement. And once we are going to be on retirement, we have to get people to replace us. And because it is the seed, if you look at the seed, the acronym of seed is putting something in the ground and making sure that it grows, it sprouts, to provide a lot more livelihood for people. The man who made it happen is here, and it is important we hear him ourselves. Prof. Belt, at this juncture, I invite you to tell us what is on your heart again. Thank you so much. He has a style. He cannot stand at one place. So if you see him moving around, forgive him. He's an action man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction and the warm words, Rexford. Thank you, all of you, for coming from all over the world. Without you, it wouldn't have been possible. And I thank the local team, and I have a symbolic present for you. So thank you, Rexford, thank you, Bismarck, and thank you, Emmanuel. We have a symbolic present for you. Please come in front. We brought 3 bottles for you. So that all of you, it's a symbolic present, because we all know it's not sufficient to have sustainable energies. It starts with energies, but there's the nexus between energy, food, and water. We need we need water to provide clean drinking water and also to irrigate the fields. So in the next step, in the future, we want to connect the energy in the living labs also with food and with water. So thank you so much for welcoming us. Thank you also for my team coming early and supporting the team. More specifically, Lara, please stand up, Karina, Katarina, Florian, and last but not least, Iqbal from Indonesia. They have been working hard the last 5 days to make this come true. So thank you so much for the organization. In the next 60 minutes or so, I want to take you on a journey. The journey is roughly 10 years. As Rexford pointed out in his welcome speech, it all started in 2019. And I hope it will go on in the next at least 5 years. So I want to take you on a journey, the past, the present, and the future of the TUM Seed Center, so that we are all on the same plate. I won't tell you our accomplishments so far. I want to tell you the good, but also the bad, and what the potentials, the challenges we have. So let's start. After the warm welcome, let's talk about the past of the Seed Center. As Rexford pointed out, it's all started in 2019, about 4 years ago. At the time, I had my sabbatical, 6 months, to think about what I want to do in the future, in the next 10 years. At the time, I was also at the supervisory board, actually the head of a supervisory board of a sustainable startup called Africa Green Tech. They provide mini-grids for Africa, more specifically Mali and Niger, providing electricity. It made me aware of the problem of around 600 to 700 people around the world having no access to electricity. And there was this call by DRD, and Sharif is the program manager of the Exceed program. They looked for centers of excellence in development and exchange, with a specific focus on sustainable development. And they asked universities from all over Germany to send call for proposals. That was in spring 2019. We had an internal competition at TUM. So the president sent out this call for proposals, asking for proposals. Altogether, 10 proposals were were submitted to the TUM president. And the board of directors, the vice presidents, decided to choose the TUM Seed Center. I'm really grateful for that. And it's for 2 reasons. The first one is the original proposal, it was always at the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. So technology and management. This is what the TUM School of Management stands for. And the other one was that we are already pretty strong and leading in the area of sustainable energy. So there is something we can contribute, or at least we think we can contribute to Sustainable Development Goal 7. So thus we made the expression of interest of TUM to DRD and submitted the proposal. That was the time when I sent the email to Rexford and all the others. I reached out for the other academic directors around the world. We had a top-down approach in selecting the partner university. It was a systematic approach. And we had two main criteria. The first one is, since we wanted to focus on Sustainable Development Goal 7 and the fact that there are still 600 to 700 people without access to electricity, so we were looking for countries where we still have millions of people without access to electricity, the hard-to-reach communities in the rural areas. So that was criteria number one on the country level. And then within these countries, we looked for leading technical universities who have a strong track record in the area of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. And this is why we approached you. All of you have a very strong record in these fields. And we were really happy that all of you were agreeing to this proposal. There was an external evaluation of the 35 proposals submitted to the EXCEED program. And in the end of the year, in November, we got the confirmation, the final confirmation from DRD that the TUM Seed Center is one of them. We had the first kick-off meeting, the workshop in December, and then it started quickly on the 1st of January in 2020. So we got the funding. Here are some facts and figures. The focus is on sustainable energies, entrepreneurship, and development in the global south. I would argue, so far, we are focusing very much on sustainable energies and entrepreneurship, the intersection between the two. And there's a good reason for that. Later on in the future, I will come back to the development, and we have been discussing some ideas how to push the development part in the Seed Center further. The first funding period runs until the end of 2024, so over a period of 5 years, and the total funding from DRD is 3.8 million. In addition to that, the TUM also adds around 1 million to this package, thanks to mobility grants, but also thanks to a position from my chair. These are the funders, as you know, and the partner universities. 5 from Africa, 2 from Asia, and 1 from South America. As I said, we want to focus, the entire program focuses on sustainable development goals, more specifically, clean and affordable energies for all by 2030. Or more specifically, if we look closely, there are 3 goals. And 7.1 talks about the universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services by 2030. Actually, the goals were agreed upon in 2015. It runs until 2030. Just, I think, a couple of days ago, the United Nations announced that we are half-time. So it's like football. The first half is already played. So the question is, how far have we gone? And there's good news and bad news. The good news is there has been impressive progress in electrification in the last decade, as you can see here. About 10 years ago, in 2010, we still had more than 1 billion people without access to electricity. Now it's roughly 700 million. However, the progress has slowed in the last couple of years. So there's still a long way to go. And the United Nations is skeptical to reach the ultimate goal of electricity for all until 2030, as you can see in the latest report. Luckily, we have the TUM Seed Center, and we have all of you. So we want to be part of that with our teaching, with our research, but also with our entrepreneurs and our living labs. How do we reach Sustainable Development Goal 7.1? How do we ensure universal access to affordable and clean energy for all by 2030? Basically, there are two pathways. On the right-hand side, you see the national grid. So one pathway is to have a stable grid and to expand that grid to reach out for more people. This is a viable strategy in the urban and semi-urban area. However, we have hard to reach communities on islands or in the rural areas. And in this case, decentralized energy systems or decentralized energy, renewable energies like solar, like biogas, wind power, hydropower makes a lot of sense. If we look closely, we can differentiate further. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have pico-solar, small solar lamps, for example, or we have so-called solar home systems. This is basically 1 to 4 PVs on the rooftop of a home, solar home systems, which provide a sufficient amount of energy for private use. So you can lighten a house, you can lighten a street, you can use a fridge and television set. This is already a big improvement in terms of enhancing the quality of life. People can read and write, the young kids can get education, and so on and so forth. However, these smaller systems, decentralized energy, they are not sufficient to provide a sufficient amount of energy for productive use. And this is the reason why we focus on mini-grids in our living labs. The World Bank, when I wrote the proposal, the World Bank just released a new report on how to provide universal access. And they argue we need thousands, 10,000 of mini-grids to provide a sufficient amount of energy for private and productive use around the world. So this is the focus of our research, and we tackle it from two different perspectives. One would be the technical perspective, how to make such a system work, the decentralized energy system, how to include biogas, for example, in combination with solar power. And we approach it from an entrepreneurial perspective. The market for mini-grid itself is estimated at $200 billion US. So it's a huge market, but still a nascent market. We have round about 160 startups, local startups in Kenya, in Nairobi, for example, but also in Uganda, Nigeria, and Ghana, and so on. We have global players from India, but also from Germany, from Silicon Valley, who are active in this market in sub-Saharan Africa. So we investigate this market, we investigate the strategies, the business models. And one of the problems is this market to create a profitable, a viable business model. Tomorrow morning, you will hear more about the business models in mini-grid, something I investigate with my PhD students. In addition to that, we also look at the entrepreneurial activities unfolding in the villages. Once you provide electricity in the rural areas, productive use unfolds over time, and entrepreneurial activities, hopefully, at least. So this is the focus of the entire project. Let us have a look at the different actions. And in the proposal, we promised 8 different actions. So let us briefly have a look at the actions and our accomplishments in the last 3 years. The first action was to establish the center at TUM and the coordination office at the partner universities in the Global South. And I think we can easily tick the box here. The TUM Seed Center is well established, similar to the Seed Scientific Board. And we have all the national Seed coordination office at the partner universities. One is led by Rexford here at KNUST. We have the steering committee with academic directors, and we have monthly meetings where we exchange informations, where we develop a vision together, strategies, and we have monthly exchange. We also have a board of trustees installed. We will meet in the second half of this year. So I think we can tick the box here. Action number 2, setting up quality-based selection process for awarding scholarships. TUM Seed Center is mainly about academic exchange, relating seed research and teaching, so at the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship, academic exchange on the level of the master students, the doctoral students, but also the junior and the senior scholars. And the question is, on which basis do we evaluate these kind of mobility grants? So we set up a TUM selection commission, which is interdisciplinary, consisting of engineers and entrepreneurs in the field. They are mainly responsible for awarding long-term scholarships. So in the last couple of years, we awarded long-term scholarships for more than 10 doctoral students, and they would decide upon the scholarships here. It's a transparent and systematic process according to the DRD regulations. Let me mention empowerment and diversity here. So of course, gender and diversity plays a great role in selecting these scholarships. We also have a regular announcement of scholarships, and I'm happy to announce 3 new doctoral scholarships soon in the end of my speech. For the short term, to move fast, to move entrepreneurial, for the short-term scholarships, Lara, the project manager, and myself, we would decide on these scholarships. So like the mobility grants for this annual symposium, for example. So I think, again, we can tick the box here. The next one is more interesting. So this was the framework, the institutional framework for the entire TUM Seed Center we set up. And of course, the contracts we signed today are part of the international arrangements we need to facilitate the academic exchange. The next one is developing and launching an international and interdisciplinary doctoral program relating seed. What are our accomplishments? We set up, under difficult circumstances during the pandemic, a doctoral program which was launched in 2020, 2021, and we selected 8 doctoral students from the Global South who started at TUM, attending numerous seminars and conducting research relating seed. Here you have Prashan. Is he here in the symposium? Where are you, Prashan? Here we go, Prashan. He's key. He works with the chair of sustainable energy systems, Professor Hammacher, who will give a keynote tomorrow. Then we have Mohamed Badi. I'm afraid he cannot come today because his wife just gave birth to a son. We will hear more about him and his publications soon. Pablo Sarmiento from Peru and Dhirendra Mishra from India. This is the engineering side, and then we have the entrepreneurship side, including Sophia, Mohammed, Bushra, and Rim. I think this is the good side. We had more than 350 applications from bright, young students, and we selected these 8. So this is the good side. Let me talk about the bad side or the challenging side. And we already discussed that a couple of months ago together with TUM, with DAD. So I'm afraid to say that 3 of the doctoral students terminated their scholarship for one reason or the other. One of them, like Sophia, for example, she got a related job. So she works in the field of entrepreneurship for the MENA region. So there's a program by the European Union, organized by TUM as well, to set up entrepreneurship, to facilitate entrepreneurship in the northern part of Africa and the MENA region. So it's closely related. It was a spring spot for her. And she will still conduct her doctoral thesis as an external PhD student. The other one is Rim. She also left and terminated the scholarship, similar to Dhirendra. I'm afraid I just got his email and resignation 3 days ago. And the main reason why is it's quite expensive living in Munich, as you all know. And the DAD scholarship provides a sufficient amount of money, but it's a different story working in practice, working in industry. So they were kind of seduced by industry. So it's sometimes challenging, as we can see here. But we turned this challenge into an opportunity. We had some discussions with the academic directors, raising concerns and raising the question, why doctoral students from the Global South only at TUM? Why don't we supervise doctoral scholarships? That was not in the original plan. So since we had these scholarships, we turned this challenge, the termination of the scholarships. We went back to DAD and they gave us some flexibility, some leeway, and we announced 3 scholarships in this area of entrepreneurship supervised by the partner universities. And I'm really happy to welcome Shamira from Makerere University. Where is she? Here we go, a very bright young student. Sally from Kenya, Jacquard, here we go, and Harold Mate as well. Thank you. So what we are trying to do here is also to change the asymmetries, to empower our partner universities. We still have exchange, but in this case, and we work closely together, but in this case, they are supervised in the Global South. So this is the development of the academic research, rigorous research in the area of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. Let's talk about the master program. So action number 4 is all about developing and launching of a master study program relating seeds. This is academic exchange on the level of the master program. Originally, we had the idea to launch a new and independent international master program at the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. We wrote a proposal, an internal proposal. I'm not saying it was turned down by the president and the board of directors, but they advised us to have a second look and to make it viable, to make it sustainable, to align it with an existing program. And this is exactly what we did. And I'm really happy to announce that we have a new technology specialization for sustainable energies as part of the Master of Management and Technology at TUM. The Master Management and Technology is the flagship program of the TUM School of Management. We have each year more than 5,000 applications. Around 500 students would apply, and all of them, these master students, study at the intersection of technology and management. More specifically, innovation and entrepreneurship, and different technology specializations, like, for example, electrical engineering, chemistry, power engineering, and so on. So a new master program, technology specialization, is sustainable energies, which will be launched in a couple of weeks. In the winter term, it will start in October. It's 100% in English, and all of you are invited to apply if you are interested. So this is the new technology specialization at the TUM School of Management, and I'm quite confident that this will be quite a successful program. It will tackle grand societal challenges, more specifically Sustainable Development Goal 7, clean and affordable energies for all. And we talk about the energy turnaround, not just in Europe, not just in the global north, but also the energy turnaround in the global south, based on mini-grids and renewable energies. And in addition to that, we also have the partnership agreements between TUM and the seed partner university to facilitate regular student exchange over a whole term. Before we had 3 existing student agreements, now we have another 5 to allow and facilitate such an exchange over half a year or a year in the upcoming years. One challenge still is, and here I'm talking to the academic directors and the partner universities. Actually, James and I, we had a talk over lunch. Part of the program is to facilitate this exchange. And all of you have, in one way or the other, a master program in power engineering with a specific focus on renewable energies. So we want to facilitate this exchange, and as part of the story, we would love you to bring in the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. So what we are looking for and what we have to discuss in the next couple of weeks and months, how to include models on entrepreneurship, similar to the TUM model as part of the program. Let us move on to action number 5, which is all about the living labs. It's the co-creation of living labs for research and teaching with impact. If you're not familiar with the term of a living lab, let me briefly define it according to Westerlund and Leminen 2011. It's physical regions in which public-private people partnerships for universities, institutes, users, and firms collaborate for creating, prototyping, validating, and testing new technologies, services, and products in real-life context. So it's not like a lab experiments, it's a field experiments in the real world. There are many living labs around the world, even living labs, for example, for smart buildings, for e-mobility in different countries of Europe. And we want to build, or we build, and we already, and we want to expand 8 living labs around the world. On Thursday, we will visit one of them. There are 2 main goals. The first one is, it's a focal point of research and teaching with impact. So we conduct research, whether it's engineering research or whether it's entrepreneurship research, rigorous research in these living labs to publish in top journals. I'm often talking about research with impact. And when we in academia talk about research with impact, we often think about top journals. It's all about top journals to get tenure, to get promoted. However, Here we have a great chance to also have impact on the real world with the living labs, to enhance the life of people in the hard-to-reach communities. And this is the second main goal, to provide access to electricity to the rural areas. I will show you some pictures in a minute. So, our accomplishments. 8 living labs are installed. We have research in the living labs going on, and there are even joint project studies initiated and student exchange facilitated. So some of the TUM students went to the living labs in Kenya and Uganda, in Peru, to conduct research. We conducted a baseline. We got data on the entrepreneurial activities, on the electric devices in the villages. And we want to see, due to the intervention, the living lab, how it unfolds, how the life changes for the better until 2030, in the next couple of years. And we also have a joint crowdfunding campaign we launched last year called Let Life Flow, Water for Zambezi, which is successfully completed. Let me show you some pictures, and this is just one example. So, was it a year ago, one and a half years ago, I visited the living lab in Uganda, Zambezi, in the northeastern part of Kampala, about 2 hours ride. So we set up the solar panels here on the rooftop, 30 of them, to provide electricity for productive use. During my visit in the village, where I got a very warm welcome, I also saw this dump. I also saw the cows. And I realized that this is the drinking water for the entire community. And young kids were fetching the water here and transporting it by bicycle or with their hands, young kids at the age of 5 or 6, to the village, either for washing or for drinking. And I thought, can't we do something about it? So, aligning with the goals of the TUM Seed Center, we did a joint project consisting of TUM students and the Makerere University students. And here you see the team. And the MOOC team, they provided the picture from the village, whereas the TUM students, they launched a crowdfunding campaign. So we launched a crowdfunding campaign on Better Place to raise money to provide water for Zambezi. Altogether, we almost raised 6,000 euro. We topped that with a budget of the TUM Seed Center and some other funds. So I'm really happy to say that we just did, how do you say, Betty? We just digged a hole, 70-80 meters each, to get the groundwater. And 3 weeks ago, I visited the village again. I got a very warm welcome. We had a celebration, we had dances and so on. The well is not set up yet, but more importantly, the water is running. So here on the left-hand side, close to the village, just around the corner, not 2K away, outside, you have fresh water, drinking water. It still has to be tested. It was a very emotional moment for me as well, to see this happy kids and the families, and it really made a difference to the entire community. And in this context, I would also like to acknowledge Betty and her great engagement and work. She is here in the middle of the young, happy kids. She is the project coordinator of MOOC. So please give her an applause. And this is something we want to do. We want the nexus, and we will set up a proper well in the next couple of weeks. And the well, the groundwater will be pumped by the solar energy. So here's the nexus between solar energy and the water. And it will also irrigate the fields of Zambezi. Zambezi has a wonderful green belt with coffee beans, with ananas, papaya, and so on and so forth. So there's great opportunities for food processing in this area. These are the next steps to go, which we will also analyze further. So I think we can also tick the box here, and I'm really looking forward to our visit on Thursday to your Living Lab. Maybe we can think about a similar water project for your community. Action number 6 is all about investigating and fostering entrepreneurship. I already talked about the 2 different types of entrepreneurship. One type is sustainable entrepreneurship, more specifically mini-grids. I talked about mini-grid developers, where we conduct research with my bright students, Mohammed from Morocco. Can you stand up? Tomorrow we will give a speech together on the market of mini-grids and how it unfolds, and what are the different strategies of mini-grid developers to become viable and still serve the community. So we have a number of ongoing research projects in the Living Labs and beyond, and we already did a number of presentations and several publications and leading international journals, including joint papers. And this is something I would encourage as the director, something DAD also would love to see. And it's just 3 days ago that Konrad told me about a most recent publication in one of the leading journals in the area of environmental technology and innovation. So here we have a paper published by Mohammed and Konrad as his supervisor from TUM, as well as our partner universities from Jakuat. So congratulations to this publication in a leading journal. And we have a number of joint projects which are unfolding now as we have academic exchange in person. Just 3 weeks ago, I visited MOOC, I visited the Living Lab, but I also visited the university. And there are 2 bright doctoral scholars and emerging scholars, including Shamira and Kazimo. Can you stand up, please? And we conduct research together, and I think it is a win-win situation. Insofar as we conduct research on informal entrepreneurship, which is quite important in the context of the Global South. We conduct research on informal entrepreneurship in the urban setting of Kampala and in the rural setting of Zambezi. And the win-win situation for me is they know the context, they know the culture, they know the language. So they can collect the data. They can conduct the face-to-face interviews. And then together we engage in the analysis, the theorizing, and the publishing in top management journals. Something they haven't done yet, but something they strive for to become part of the international academic community in the area of entrepreneurship. And that is something I would love to see, and this is also part of my mentoring, so to say. I would love to see young, bright women like Shamira and Kazimo as an emerging scholar in this area to thrive far beyond their country and their university and be part of the international community and the excellence TUM strives for. So you're all invited, and we just talked about a similar joint project together with our partners in Kenya, and we are open for any suggestions in this area. Let's move on to action number 7, organizing SEED Annual Symposium. I'm afraid to say that in 2020, we were hit hard by COVID. Just 1 week before, we had to cancel all the flights and the symposium, which was a pity, because it makes a difference. I still believe in personal meetings, sitting together in the beer garden, becoming friends. And actually, in the meanwhile, let me say a few personal words, something I realized. I think with this community, with this partnerships, it's also about Sustainable Development Goal 17, peace. Because meeting on a personal level, getting to know each other. Before, I didn't have a clue about Africa. Now I learned a lot about the different cultures. I became to realize that Africa is similar to Europe. If you look at Europe from far, the European Union, it might be one entity. But in reality, it's a number of different countries and cultures. And the same holds true for Africa. And I love seeing the different cultures engaging with you. And I see it in the evenings when we have dinner together and the lunch. So in the meanwhile, I would argue and say it's also a venture, to the TUM Seed Center is also a venture for a peaceful world in the future. Thank you so much for joining. Coming back to the annual symposium, last year we had a great symposium at the Indian Institute of Technology in Mumbai, organized by Anand and the project coordinator at the time. And we also visited the Living Lab there. The last action, number 8, is securing the sustainability of a TUM Seed Center, and the ultimate aim is to get another 2 million additional funding. Last year we already announced Seed Himalaya, which came out of a TUM Seed Center, and which is led by Daphne and also implemented by Johannes. Next year, they will make sure to present their outcomes as well. Let me move on, for reasons of time, to the present, the status quo of SEED. Let me briefly start with the most recent changes in our team. First and foremost, I would like to thank Lara. She joined in a crisis situation. At the time, we didn't have a project coordinator. And she was carefully selected. And one of her first actions was to visit the annual symposium to get to know the other. And I can say you did an outstanding job in the last couple of months. And this is also the reason why I promoted her as a project manager, involving her in the strategic decisions and the financial and the future of the TUM Seed Center. So she's promoted as a new project manager most recently. Next one, and this is a position not coming from DAD, but rather coming from TUM. It's the position at my chair at the postdoc. You all know that Esther was the former postdoc. She finished her PhD and she joined LMU. And I'm really happy to say that just recently, Alessia from Italy, Dr. Agiolas joined us as well. Please stand up. She is the new search coordinator. And yesterday she was already quite active in the paper development workshop. She focuses her research on sustainable entrepreneurship. And as a young doctorate, she has already published in the leading journal, and she has a bright future ahead in this area. Next one is a new project coordinator, and I'm really happy to announce that we got somebody from abroad, more specifically from our partner universities in Indonesia. Welcome, Iqbal. He is responsible also for relations with the partner universities, our Asian partners and African partners, of course South America, and also for communication in the future. We will relaunch the website in a couple of weeks. Then, of course, Karina as the financial officer, you know her. And last but not least, Florian, our data facilitator. He introduced a management tool we desperately need. And we are in the phase of introducing, implementing it now, and I think it will enable us and enhance the partnerships with you in administrative terms, financial terms, but also management terms. We will have KPIs, key performance indicators, at our fingertips. We will have all the financial numbers at our fingertips in the future. It's something we would also like to share with DAAD. So we have a nice software tool, and he helped us to facilitate that. Talking about the present, I would also like to focus on the new corporate partnership with Audi and Dr. Roxana Kodita. Can you stand up? This is a project. It's a public-private partnership, so to say, and it's at the intersection of sustainable energies, entrepreneurship, and e-mobility. As you all know, e-mobility plays a great role around the world in the e-cars business, but also in broader terms, e-mobility, e-vehicles, e-bodas, and so on in the global south. And this is something we will investigate, and you will hear more about it in the keynote by Roxana tomorrow morning. As part of the deal, as part of a flagship program Audi launched, they will expand the living labs to provide a sufficient amount of energy for e-mobility, and they will also dedicate 3 doctoral scholarships. One at TUM, which is, who is Katharina Eichinger. Please stand up. She just signed up as a PhD student this week, and she will coordinate the activities with 2 other doctoral students coming from the Global South. So again, we have this interaction between our partner universities. And then I'm really happy to say that we also have a new student partnership with TUM Empower Africa. I would even go as far as saying, without TUM Empower Africa, there wouldn't be any TUM Seed Center. TUM Empower Africa is a student initiative which has been active at TUM for a couple of years, engaged in sustainable energies. And the new board of directors is Wayne, Svenja, and Florian. Please stand up as well. Thank you so much for joining. And the partnership is all about empowering the partners in the Global South. So they have a lot of knowledge how to run a student organization in the area of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. They have a great track record. They build living labs on their own, which is amazing. They have all kinds of activities. So what about sharing it with the other students in the Global South? And this is the reason why we, the TUM Seed Center, dedicate 8 scholarships for student initiative founders in the Global South, 1 for each partner university. And they are all with us, so please stand up. Our partner student initiative founders from Namibia, from Peru, Indonesia, Ethiopia, Ghana, and so on. They already had a workshop together with TUM Empower Africa. They have their own ideas. The idea is that the students are change makers to make a difference at their institutions and far beyond. Thank you for joining. And of course, you as the founders, but also your members are potential scholars for the TUM Seed Center in the future. Talking about the future, and to wrap it up, the way to move forward. What can we expect in the next couple of months and years? Well, the first one, I already mentioned the doctoral scholarships. Two terminated their contract for one reason or the other. We will announce 3 doctoral scholarships in engineering and entrepreneurship for the partner universities. That is soon to come, and you have a chance to apply. Then I'm really happy to announce the next annual symposium, which will take place in September 2024, and it will be hosted by our partners in JAKUAT in Nairobi in Kenya. Thank you for agreeing that. The specific dates will be decided on Friday, so it's either the first or the second week in September next year. We would love to see the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Nairobi. Please note, Nairobi is also sometimes called the Savannah Valley, similar to Silicon Valley. And 1/3 of all investments, foreign investments going to Africa, they go to Nairobi, they go to Kenya, which is quite an accomplishment. So we are really eager to see your viable entrepreneurial ecosystem and your entrepreneurial activities with regard to sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. Then from next year onwards, we will prepare the second phase. So the first phase will run out in the end of December next year. And then we will have a second phase from 2025 onwards. It will be a closed call for proposals by DRD Exceed in spring 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we are asked to submit a new proposal for the second phase of the TUM Seed Center. So we have some, of course, we will follow up our track record, build on it, but we also have leeway, some flexibility to develop it further. We already started discussing it with our academic directors, of course with Lara as a project manager, and here are some ideas, which are not written in stone yet. One idea is to go beyond sustainable energies and entrepreneurship, including development. What do I mean? I mean, when we have this intervention in the living labs, we follow up the entrepreneurial activities in the villages. We don't have a look at human health yet. We don't have a look at education or women empowerment, for example. That's a kind of research I would also love to see in these areas. And we will reach out for human health, public health, medicine, and so on. So, for example, LMU puts a very strong focus on human health. Maybe we have some kind of interaction there, but of course also with the different schools at TUM and your partner universities. What about the governance? What about the structure? And we are thinking about expanding the TUM Seed Center, moving towards a network. And something we think about is deepening of collaborations with the existing partner universities, and we would like to call them senior partners. We can already see that. Thanks to Audi, we will expand 2 living labs and also dedicate 2 doctoral students in this area. So we will deepen the partnership with the existing partners, And we will also like to include some new partners. This is also an idea which were brought up, which were suggested by the partner universities. So for example, Ghana may be a regional hub for the eastern part of Africa. And they have contact with the Burkina Institute of Technology, which is also represented here. Françoise and Anouar, can you stand up here as well? Thank you for coming and joining us. And they will make a presentation on Friday to present themselves as junior partners in the future. What is the difference between the senior and the junior partners? The senior partners have a living lab, and they have a local national coordination team. The junior partners don't have a living lab and maybe just a minor position, but they will get mobility grants, either to come to TUM or to join the annual symposium. They will get a certain amount of mobility grants as well to facilitate academic exchange relating seed research and teaching. And then the last one, how do we envision the TUM seed network, please note network, in 2030? So we want to transform it from a center, which has a center like TUM and 8 partner universities around it, towards more like a network, where the partner universities also become more active, more empowered. We want to be a leader in international seed research at the intersection of sustainable energies and entrepreneurship. I mentioned the publication by Konrad, Mohammed, and the others in leading journals. In the future, I want to see dozens, if not hundreds, of publications in leading international journals to be recognized, to strive for excellence in this area as a light tower, similar to the living labs, but also, I mean, nowadays, I'm located in Weinstefan. Weinstefan is known around the world for beer. Every beer brewer around the world would know Weinstefan. So hopefully in the future, the TUM Seed Center is also known for sustainable energies and entrepreneurship in the global south. We want to be a leader in international seed teaching as teaching on the master level and maybe even the bachelor level at the intersection of sustainable energies and technology. We just launched the program now, and we see all the bright students involved in this program, the student initiative founders, the alumni coming out of our master programs, the doctoral students as change makers for the global energy turnaround. And we will follow that up with KPIs. Last but not least, we want to enhance the quality of life in the rural communities. We want to electrify at least 5,000 people around the world, provide them water and food as part of our mission, Research with Impact. Research with impact in academia, but also in the real world. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you so much, Professor Frank Martin-Belt. We want to provide quality life for rural communities. Quality life for rural communities. A powerful phrase at the end. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge the organizing team, both local and foreign as well. We have Mr. Bismarck Edu, who is the financial director of the KNUST TUM Seed Center as the chair. We have Mr. Emmanuel Boache as a member. And then for inclusivity, we had Mrs. Stella Atiaba, who is a student assistant for KNUST TUM Seed Center. We have Dr. Mrs. Aisha Bafu-Ishon. She's a lecturer in the Department of Architecture. And then we have Mr. Emmanuel Furidia as part of a member, and Mr. Odami Eje representing the community. On the foreign side, I think Frank has done that. Lara leading, Ekbal, Florian, Karina, and Katarina. We want to thank you for making this happen for us. And Alexia, come stai? Tutto bene? Grazie. At least I can remember my little Italian. And it's interesting that an Italiana goes, an Italiana comes. Esther, we could speak a little bit of Italian. I had my master's in La Sapienza, a place of wisdom in Rome. We also have in our presence the GTV, Ghana Television, they are here. We have TV3 also present. The Garden City Radio is also here. Daily Graphic is here. And multimedia is here. So I wouldn't be surprised that from tomorrow, there'll be a lot of news about this symposium. At this point, we will invite, I think the Pro-VC has another assignment, and he will want to beg leave of us. So whilst we take him out, we will come back and then continue with a note by Sheriff very soon. So once again, Frank, thank you so much for this address. Now we know how we are going to go. And I want to thank everybody for this kind audience. Thank you.
sonst haben wir gleich Stress.
Welcome back, everyone. Good. I think this is the penultimate session, and let's get seated so that we can finalize everything and then go and prepare for tomorrow. The penultimate activity for today is an overview of the Tomb Seed activities via that of DAD. And we have no other person to do this better for us than a senior desk officer at DAD who is responsible for all the 7 centers. And having run from 2019 till date, he's the one behind the desk managing all these activities. And Sharif, I want to thank you for making all the way to Ghana. When I was told that you were coming, I was very happy, but I could not share my joy until yesterday when I saw that you have finally arrived. Because those who haven't been to Africa, and for that matter Ghana, always have a sense of trepidation about going to Africa. But I tell people that the very first time I was also traveling out of Ghana to Europe, and then the first time was in Italy, I also have the same sense of trepidation that, is it a safe place to go? I can see that now when you come, you realize that indeed, Africa is safe. And I was happy to listen to Professor Belt Frank saying that he can now see that Africa and Europe are basically, if you are not the same, we share certain commonalities because of cultural issues. So I want to thank you for making it to Ghana and being with us. I want to thank you on behalf of all the partner universities and DAD for making the SEED Center possible, which, as we've all learned today, trying to provide quality life for rural communities. It is on this note that I would like to invite you to the podium and share with us the overview. Can we give it to him, please?
Thank you very much, Professor Oppong, for this very kind introduction and for your warm words. Dear Professor Winkelmann, Senior Vice President of the Technical University in Munich, dear Professor Belz, the Director of Seed Center from the Technical University of Munich, dear Professor Oppong, our host, and the Scientific Director from the Seed Center in the KNUST. Dear Dr. Kodita, the Seed Affiliate from Audi, dear participants and distinguished guests. It's my privilege and honor to be here today and to join with you and to be part of this event and to learn with you and from you a lot about the activities of the Seed Center. I don't want to make it long because I know we have had a long day with a lot of input and very informative sessions. So I will share with you just some short overview of the DAAD and specifically about the Exceed program of which the Seed Center is a part. So what is DAAD? It's an independent organization of German universities and in general higher education institutions and their student bodies that promotes the internationalization strategies of these institutions. And it is also the national agency that works on implementation of the Erasmus Plus mobility grants and program, shaping the European the landscape for the European higher education, and research. So just some numbers of the activities that DAAD has done in the past. So in the last 70 years, there have been more than 1.7 million recipients of funding from Germany and about 1.2 million recipients of funding from outside Germany. And we have been funding more than 3,500 projects. So, and since DAAD is actually very committed to equal opportunity and in specific gender equality, more than half of the recipients were women. And this is not only in the last year, but also in the last couple of years. So about our donors, since we are funded by governmental bodies, but we are still independent organization. The institutional funding we receive from the German Federal Foreign Office, but beside the European Union, we receive also funding from other ministries, such as the Federal Ministry for Education and Research, as well as the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. By the way, the Seed Center and the whole Exceed program is part of this funding portfolio coming from the BMZ, Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. So, of this very huge amount of funding, more than 774 million a year, this is actually the budget of the last year, DAAD can be considered the largest organization that funds international cooperation between universities, but also funds individuals in different forms, such as scholarships or research grants, or also cooperation and collaboration on an international level. So a lot of representation you find for the DAAD abroad. It has more than 57 offices worldwide and also 19 regional offices of representation. You find this distributed also actually all over the world. So here's a short overview over the representations of DAAD offices worldwide. Now let me come to share with you some thoughts about the Exceed program. I think we have learned a lot from the speech of Professor Belz about the idea of exceed, but actually it dates back to 2009, so it's a bit older than the actual phase, which is up to date, started 2019. So it started 2009 with 5 different centers who are unfortunately not in the funding right now, but who are very active, and this is the impact and the positive impact we expect, and it's happening because other projects and centers are still active, although they are not funded in the actual phase. So they are cooperating with the Exceed centers, but they are cooperating with other bodies and amongst each other, so they are still active. So what is the main idea of this funding program? It is to increase the capacity of German universities and to promote their engagement in development cooperation in general, and to promote also the exchange of knowledge and the joint creation of knowledge between German universities and their partner universities abroad. With this, we try to support research topics in the context of the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, so that research agendas can be developed, as you notice, within your respective center. This is happening all over the networks of Exceed. And also to improve the employability and to qualify the researchers, the young scholars, and also the students with the needed qualification they might need to take over responsibilities and to be themselves actually like agents of change in their regions. And on the outcome level, what we expect from the networks is to build up network activities and to cooperate with different institutions of higher education, but also extramural organizations to have these networks active in the field of development cooperation, and to develop strategies for knowledge creation and transfer, but also to make international cooperation and multi-actor partnerships with, as said, extramural organizations possible. All this should happen, and happens actually, in the context of development cooperation. So the participating universities offer a state-of-the-art master's and doctoral programs so that we can extend the effect of Exceed, as it's not only a beneficiary funding program or cooperating projects for those who collaborate, but also for all target groups of the partner universities, especially in the Global South, so that they can also make best use of the information offered and of the curricula developed within the networks. And of course, to make this even brighter and more possible to be used, we focus on the ICT-based methods of teaching, so that more partners who are not actually collaborating directly with the network. So I was very interested in your insight you have presenting, Professor Belz, about the idea of coming from a center towards a network. So it is actually, this is the process we lived through Exceed program. At the beginning it was centers, because it was like Exceed comes actually from the Centers for Exchange and Development, but now it's the network character, because then you have like different partnerships, and you make the benefits possible for other parts and other target groups from people who do not actually cooperate directly. So now, this is a very short list of the 7 networks. So you see here, Seed is the last one, because I guess you know all about Exceed, so I thought maybe listing some, the other Exceed centers, or better said, as said, networks. So the OH target is a collaboration project with the Ludwig-Maximilian University of Munich and their partners. I'm listing on the right-hand side only the number of higher education institutions, but as said, and you have also partnerships with extramural organizations working in different sectors like the private sector, the civil society, and non-governmental organizations as well. The GPN working on the 17th SDG partnerships for partnership networks actually for SDGs in the context of development cooperation, as well as SDG Nexus Network from the University of Gießen, and the Global Center of Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability of the TU Berlin. And actually they have the same idea you develop right now of senior partners. Those are 3, but they have also more than 48 partner universities. So otherwise we have the Access Center, which is an African Center for Career Enhancement and Skill Support, and they have a kind of similarity content-wise with what you are working on in your research, promoting the employability and the entrepreneurship for their graduates. The SOLID is the Social Work and Strengthening NGOs in Development Cooperation Center of the Frankfurt University in Applied Sciences. And of course the SEED Center. So on which topics you all work on with these different networks: employability, entrepreneurship, addiction, and strengthening the role of NGOs in development cooperation, sustainable urbanization, which you have also like interdisciplinary interest of research with them, and the Partnerships for Sustainable Development, as said, who are studying and researching on topics of partnerships, of networking, of joint activities to achieve the SDGs. As well as the SDG Nexus, which is also an interdisciplinary approach that try to study and research on the connectedness and the relationship between the different SDGs and how you can contribute to the achievement. The One Health is a project that works on an approach that recognizes this connectedness of human beings, of animals, but also of the environment, and what kind of influence do all these elements have on the health. And of course, the entrepreneurship and employability. As said, we have 2 ex-SEED centers working on these topics. One of them is your respective SEED center. So here I brought some numbers that can show what kind of accomplishments, achievements we have done with the Exceed program, which we didn't have, but you have contributed to that, and the Exceed centers and networks have jointly achieved all of these very great numbers to see. Of course, it is expected because the funding is a beautiful volume actually, but still the effort we see, the passion we notice by all the networks and the partner universities, and also extramural organizations work on that. And let me refer to the fact that it's actually not very common that DAD funded projects have always this kind of partnerships with extramural organizations. Since we are an organization of the universities, we support cooperation between universities. Of course, we care for problem related and practice-oriented teaching and learning, but still this kind of innovation we have with Exceed, that universities cooperate with different sectors that are not universities, is very, very highly appreciated and very noticeable. So 106 curricula, and I'm talking about the time from 2020 to 2022. So we have 106 curricula and modules, courses that have been either newly developed completely or just further developed. Most of them are actually 60% of them are online based or ICT based. 64 of them are, as I said, ICT-based, and 70% of this amount has been already offered into 22. So this shows that is already kind of an impact that we expect at the end of the funding phase. But now to see that already in the third funding year, a lot of amount of students have been profiting from these curricula who are not the direct target group of those funded people within PhD funding research programs or master programs is a very nice impact actually we can notice right now. Training courses have occurred on the third-party funding acquisition, so that this is what we actually plan that, or we aim at, that universities can promote their engagement in development cooperation so that they receive and give and learn with each other on issues of the SDGs, so, or development cooperation within the SDGs, so they can participate in these trainings with 460 participants. And yeah, as we can see, most of them are female. So yeah, again, this kind of regulation, this kind of main target of having an equal opportunity in funding issues within the EXCEED program, but also within the whole DAAD funding portfolio. In terms of teaching and in terms of research as well, we have 62 scholarships for master students, 73 scholarships for PhD students, and 5 scholarships for postdocs within the time frame in the last 3 years until 2022. And here we can see that it is also a very important part of the grants that universities and the networks also take care of, is that it is also supporting the marginalized groups and taking care of equal opportunities. As said, practice-oriented teaching and learning. We have seen that a lot of trainings have been conducted to teachers and also PhD students. So we see here 2,386 teachers have been profiting from such trainings. 52% of them are women, and yeah, teaching staff have been also profited from such trainings in the context of problem-based teaching and learning, with 55% of them are women. So these are some numbers I brought with me to just show you a bit of the context in which SEED is placed, the EXCEED program in general. Thank you very, very much for your attention, and yeah, I would like to, last but not least, thank the University of KNUST for hosting this event, and all the teams who are behind this organization so that it's possible for us to be here. Thank you very much, and I wish us all a nice event with vivid discussions and yeah, a lot to learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharif, for making it very snappy. It's getting to the very end of the day. So, but I'm happy you kept everybody alive. Thank you. Yes, so we are gradually coming to the end of the program for today. And I would like to introduce to you some SEED-related departments and research centers in KNUST. So if any of you want to visit, we will arrange for you to do that. We have the BED, that is the Bureau Integrated Rural Development. I think you saw the bus, you know, taking you from the airport and the rest. Then we have the Brew Hammond Energy Center, also on campus. We have the TCC, that is the Technology Tansy Center. And in fact, this particular center is very old. And currently they won a World Bank Center of Excellence. And they are into a number of collaboration with a number of Dutch. I don't know so much the difference between the DUTH and the DEUTCHE. But whatever it is, there are collaboration with the Dutch and the Dutch community, so you can visit. We also have the Center for Settlement Studies. And KNUST has 6 colleges. We have College of Engineering, we have College of Art and Built Environment, we have College of Social Sciences and Humanities, we have College of Agric and Natural Resources, then we have College of Science and College of Health Sciences. In all this, we have close to 160 departments offering various programs, architecture. So from A to Z, you'll find everything in KNUST. So you can just let us know the areas that you want to visit, and you'll make the necessary arrangement for you to strike the necessary networking. Having said this, we are bringing today's program to a close, but the discussions and the negotiations continue. The networking continue. As we live here, try to exchange, because we are seeing new faces today. I saw a lot of faces back in India. Today, there are additional faces which I need to add to my portfolio. It is important to have what an Italian would say, coloriche, shades of many colors. We are all coming from different backgrounds, and it is important to learn something starting from today. On this note, I'd like to thank every one of you, but I still want to remind you that tomorrow we continue the program. We've shared the program with you. The bus will pick you up from the hotel and you travel to KNUST. Again, I find this very interesting on the program, breathing technique, which will be done by Karina. I would like to really experience that because we need it at this point in time of our lives. Then we go on to look at the business models for the mini grids, which is very key because beyond 2024, how are we going to sustain the mini grids? So understanding how we build the models will really help us. And that will be given by Professor Belt and Mohammed, a doctoral student, fresh ideas. So we need to be here to listen to them. We go on with complexities of urban energy provision. And then we have a lunch break. We look at the past and present, the future of mini grids in Africa, which will be given by Professor Dr. Ruben Tamaklo. And this reminds me, one of the areas you can also want to visit is the physics department. We have introduction of the poster presentations. They've all been printed, and it will be mounted tomorrow for everybody to see. And of course, the coffee break. So without much ado, I want to thank you very much and formally brings today's session to a close. The scientific directors, from tomorrow you can sit anywhere. Professor Anand is itching to go back to where he sat. So from tomorrow is free range, but make sure you are not missing in action. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone. Thank you.